Say go or something, or can I just go whenever? All right. So integrating aquaponics into an urban agriculture was my capstone project, and many of you probably don't know what aquaponics is. So my job for the next 20 minutes or so is to explain to you what it is. All right. Urban agriculture is farming in a city or village. Because each city and village is different, there's different climates and people have different needs in each city and village. So designs can vary. Because there's different kinds of designs, there's a couple of requirements that need to be met per design. A design has to have low maintenance, so that means that you should not have to spend a lot of time every day taking care of it and nurturing the system, because most of you have like jobs and have other things to do other than take care of your system. And the second thing is that it should be affordable. It should be cheap. A normal person making an average income should be able to afford the system, and it should be 100% organic. People don't want things that are bad for their health, because nothing good comes out of it. And they should provide a variety of nutrients. So you should be able to get different vitamins, proteins, and carbohydrates and stuff like that from your system. All right, aquaponics. It meets all these requirements, and it does through a unique process of aquatic agriculture. So you have a fish tank, pretty much, and that fish tank has aquatic life in it. You can raise lobster, tilapia, different sorts of fish, and these fish produce waste. This waste thus goes up to a grow bed. A grow bed is the second part of the aquaponics system, where you grow your plants, the things that provide the nutrients, the things that are organic. And the third is a bacteria bed. The bacteria bed usually has two different kinds of bacteria in it. The nitrosomonas, which probably not many of you know what it is. It converts the fish poop, fish waste, ammonia, to ammonium nitrite, and that ammonium nitrite is thus reconverted into ammonium nitrates, and those nitrates provide nutrients like food for the plants so that they can grow. So it's fuel for them. And because of this unique process, aquaponics is able to thrive, unlike in normal gardening where you have soil. My bad. One question that many of you might have is, why is aquaponics cool? Why is it so different from all these different sorts of farming that we have nowadays? And it is, it's unique. The reason it's unique and cool and awesome, why I like it so much is, as I said before, it's 100% organic. And actually, what I should have said before is, I'll explain each one of these bullet points later on in the PowerPoint. So aquaponics is 100% organic, uses 98% less water than an average garden uses a year, uses up less space, so you don't have to you can put it in the corner of your living room or something, your basement, anywhere. Thirdly, it produces a variety of nutrients, as I said before, so it meets all the requirements that an efficient system in an urban city or village would require. So the first one is, how is aquaponics organic? It's organic because it uses no pesticides. Because if aquaponics was to use any sorts of pesticides, like the ones that people spray on their plants to ensure their health. It would contaminate the water and kill the aquatic life inside, like the fish, the bacteria. So that's one of the reasons why you can't use pesticides. And another thing that you can't use are artificial fertilizers, because the system itself produces so much nutrients that you don't need to artificially add any more fertilizers to it to ensure the plant's health. And the image here shows the result of what usually happens in normal gardening, like in a backyard garden. Usually people spray pesticides saying, oh, well, I'm going to protect my plants and then ensure their safety from insects and stuff like that. Well, you don't have to worry about that in aquaponics. So you don't have to worry about water pollution, which goes into our fresh water and makes water undrinkable. All right, how is aquaponics 98%, how does it use 98% less water than normal gardening? And well, it does this through using a closed loop system. So no water evaporates from the system itself because there's no soil that absorbs the water. It's like the water's continuously flowing around in the system. And actually I have a quote from here from an aquaponics expert from Solar Aquaponics, and they said that aquaponics uses minimal water to answer for drought-stricken environments and can act like an oasis for them, meaning aquaponics system conserve water so that it doesn't easily flow out of the system. All right. Aquaponics takes up very, 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 very little space because it's in a closed loop system, and there's so many nutrients in the system that you don't have to separate the plants out as you would have to in like a garden. If any of you guys have one, you'd know that you'd have to separate each one of your plants out in a patch because there's not many nutrients in the soil that they can feed the plants. So another reason why aquaponics takes up very little space is that it's water. There's a lot of water in it, so you don't have to worry about spacing your plants out and making sure that each one of them gets enough water. And because of this unique quality of an aquaponics system, there's an acceleration of plant growth. So plants don't have to send their roots out really far to search for nutrients because it's already being given to them in the system. An aquaponics system, as I said before, can provide a variety of nutrients. And it does this through the aquatic farming that you have in the grow bed. And the nutrition that you receive from the fish is mostly protein, which is great for the body if you want to like lift and stuff. You have some fish to eat, and then the other is the other kinds of nutrients you can take from an aquaponic system are from vegetables, which can vary from broccoli to cauliflower to tomatoes and all other sorts. And honestly, I don't really like vegetables, so it's for those people who really want to eat healthy. And another is our fruits. So this shows that aquaponics systems can grow a variety of different plants and stuff. All right. Although aquaponics has all these positive things, there's one main thing it lacks. and that is being completely energy efficient. And the reason why aquaponics is not completely energy efficient compared to conventional farming, which is gardening and stuff, is because it uses a pump. It uses pumps to pump the water up and down the system so that you have a constant recycling of waste. And since it's not energy efficient, it doesn't meet one of our criteria. And that is, it does not create a lot from nothing, because you need to put in something to get something out. And my initial goal was to eliminate that energy input you'd have to put into the system, so that your plants could grow and the water would constantly be flowing throughout the system. And I set out to use renewable energy, and at first I was a little bit overwhelmed and excited about having to explore like a new field. So I went and sought out Mr. Rosenhan, and he told me that, Mr. Rosenhan and Mr. Knossi told me first that I could use solar energy to power the system, and other cool things like a Heroes fountain. I'd have a model for it right now, but I left it in my locker. But our Heroes fountain is really, really cool, and I have a video here to show you how it works. Just give it a few seconds. Whoops. Okay. My bad. But this video is going to describe to you how to build your own Heroes fountain, which was created by a physicist in the 1st century in Rome. Let's see.
Give it a try. I filled this bottle B with water all the way to the top. Bottle C has just a little bit of water. Let's see what happens when we add water to the top.
I'll explain to you what and how the system works after.
Well, that didn't seem to work too well. So what I'm going to do is add some Play-Doh to the seal. Seems to be leaking here a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add some. Okay, I added the Play-Doh between bottle A and B. Hopefully seal that air. I think that's the critical part.
Yeah, and as you just said, air was the critical thing about, and the reason why I could not use the system. So a Heroes fountain works by using air pressure. So as you saw, the gentleman in the video poured water into the first canister, the bottle over there, and as the water goes down, it builds air pressure in the Heroes fountain, and then as the pressure slowly builds, the water starts to rise up into the system, which is really cool. But because air runs out sooner or later in the system, and it gets replaced by the water, the system stops working. So I could not use this. So I couldn't use the Heroes fountain because it would run out of air and pretty much just like stop working. And I tried this a couple of times. I tried to find different alternatives to like refill this pump with air, but none of them worked. So I went on to use solar energy, and I did this through building a solar pump. So my first design for a solar pump was to have 2 solar panels or more connected to a pump, and then the pump would pump water up the system. And this will be using renewable energy. It will be completely efficient, and it would meet the needs of the people, and anybody in any village or any city could be able to use it. But there was a downfall to the first system I had. Because the sun goes down sooner or later, it cannot convert the sunlight, electromagnetic waves of the sun, into energy. This created a downfall for me, so I had to go seek out some help from Mr. Rosenhan. He advised me to get a couple of things to make my system work. He told me that I needed, well, obviously a solar panel. I needed a diode, which is a small device that allows the current from the solar panel. It allows the current from the solar panel to travel down to the battery without the battery itself creating a lot of, without the battery itself refeeding into the panel to fry it. So I got a diode. And the second thing I needed was a capacitor, because the battery I was using had low voltage compared to that of the panel. So I wasn't able to actually hook that up until I got the capacitor. The capacitor pretty much just uses up a certain amount of energy that it is assigned, and then it allows the rest of it to travel down to the battery to recharge it. So after figuring out all these things, I was able to connect the solar panel to the battery. But even before I got the solar panel connected to the battery, I had to figure out one thing, and that was how much current the device that I need to use needed. So I was introduced to this equation that I learned in ninth grade. E equals R times I. I stands for current, and E stands for voltage. Voltage is the potential energy something has, and I is the current that a device can use. So I had to figure out how to raise the current in my system, because initially, before I had found out that I had to connect a rechargeable battery to the system, I had tried connecting the solar panel to the pump to see if it worked, and it didn't, because there was not enough current being received. So I had to figure out how to raise the current, and I did so through getting 2 solar panels and raising the current. So anyways, after I had gotten the solar panel, the diode, the capacitor, and the rechargeable battery, and the pump, I had one problem. share with everyone else. So I did some research and then spoke with Mr. Kenosi, and he said that the best way to achieve my goal that I wanted as a junior was to do SYP because I'd have plenty of time to work on it.
So you said this system could be used by an average or, person who could afford it.
Mhm.
Did you ever look into the cost, how much each item costs? Because solar panels are pretty
Yeah, that was
expensive.
I was going to explain that, but kind of forgot. But the solar panels was the only costly thing. But the thing is that over time, that cost would go away because the solar panels would
Well, do you know how much the system might have cost roughly?
roughly.
Yeah. How much would it cost to buy all that together and set up your?
It would have cost about $180, but that's nothing compared to what a normal garden usually requires.
But over time?
Yeah, but over time, yeah.
Okay.
You refer to it as the size, that it could be used anywhere. When I visualize this and when I've been in the lab before, it's all in sort of spread out in different areas. What would this design look like in a typical home?
Well-
Would one feeder be underneath? Like, how would it? I mean,
and then you have a bacterial bed. So you don't really need any fancy like shelving that we have in green engineering. So you can just get like a chair or something and sit one little tank on it and the other on top of it, and then all you have to do is put the tank on the ground, and you can put this in your basement, but it's preferred that you put it outside so then
visualize, like, is there a way to market this towards homeowners? I mean, I just spent all last weekend clearing a huge space in my garden and turning soil,
Yeah.
Taking chicken manure and, different nutrients and I never use pesticides, but, I'm thinking about how much space just my garden takes. I'm trying to visualize, and in New England, could this go outside?
In New England, no, it couldn't. And that was part of the why each design can vary depending on the climate. So, for instance, since we live in New England, the weather's constantly changing. It would be preferred that you put your system indoors and have grow lights. You can have LCD lights because they're cheaper, and can be powered with a solar panel. So, your question was?
I'm just trying to think of typical space. For instance, a cold frame where you can grow things outside. Is there a way of modifying this unit so it could sit outside in our area, maybe in a shed? Like, is there a,
Oh, yes, you can put it in a shed.
panels on the ceiling of the
Mhm.
shed? And I just,
You can pretty much modify the system to fit anywhere because you can always add components to it. For instance, you can add a tank heater and that would keep the tank warm and the fish warm and keep it from like freezing and stuff. But the only downfall is that the more things that you add to it, the more panels you're going to need to power it. So it's, yeah.
thank you.
How much aquatic life do you need to like support a regular garden bed or?
You need about like 2 fish.
Really?
Yeah, you don't need that many. But if you really want at a large scale and you want to be producing a lot of nutrition and like a lot of stuff like that, you would want to have like a really big tank, and that could like sustain about like 8 fish, 10 fish, depending on what you're raising. fish, and because they're on like a volcanic, they have like a lot of like volcanic rock and stuff. It's really hard for them to grow plants otherwise. So they use a lot of fish to like. So they have like systems that are like that are as big as a room pretty much, and they have them like indoors in a greenhouse, and there they have like thousands of fish to like sustain the system.
So if you were to implement one of these systems in downtown Boston, say, do you think there'd be any risk of pollution from being in like a very concentrated urban area?
Would the system be outside? Depends where you want to put the system itself.
Yeah, I guess that's true. If you were to be in a warmer climate than in an urban climate and the system was outside, would it still be safe from?
Yeah, it would still be safe because it's in a closed loop system.
Okay. So there's no.
So yeah.
Time for one more question.
Is there an existing, commercially available aquaponics system that people can have in their home, or is it only really done on the commercial farming scale at this time?
What so you're asking, is there a system that can be built
I'm asking,
for an average person?
is there a system that's commercially available for homeowners, or is the market for aquaponics systems solely for farmers and people who do it on a large scale?
No, there is one